Hello and thanks for joining us. I'm Joe Basichia, and this is a special edition of Comcast Newsmakers. It's called Candidates on Demand, and we're glad to have with us Herb Tarbous, the independent party candidate for state representative in the 6th Congressional District. We're going to talk about his campaign. Good to have you here, sir.
Hi, Joe. Great to be here.
Mr. Tarbous, when we talk about that district you want to serve, the 6th, what does it comprise?
It's comprised mostly of Monmouth and Middlesex County. Actually was cobbled together of two previous districts, and it's actually long and spread out, so there's not really a cohesive character of the district. Really made up of two areas, the Monmouth County shore area and then the Central Jersey, Middlesex County area.
As you go through it door to door, what are you learning?
I'm learning that people are very upset, that most people, I'd say about 90% of people, are just throw up their hands when you ask them to talk about politics. And the other 10% or so are just so disgusted they can't even bring themselves to talk about what's going on out there these days.
You're running as an independent. Diversity is strength is your slogan, your party line. What do you mean by that?
Well, I mean that diversity is a catchword, sometimes a buzzword for things like, sexual preference, sexual orientation, race. I mean more than that. I mean that our political system doesn't bring enough diverse ideas, not enough people from enough diverse enough backgrounds, and that's really what I want to see change. I want to see a more participative, a more inclusive political system.
You think our party system as it is right now, not good enough for the third party concept to maybe get a voice at the table?
Well, it's more than not good enough. It's actually restrictive. It's almost prohibitive. The New Jersey Constitution and state statutes actually have clauses and things built in which actually prevent a third party from getting a toehold. And so that's another area that I'd like to get some traction on, is to get some people into the state legislature and even Congress to start passing some laws that make it better and easier for a third party to get established.
Let's see what you bring to the table in terms of your background, an engineer by trade.
Mm-hmm.
How does that play, say, in transportation, in alternative ways of looking at energy?
Well, in transportation, I know that my take on it is that people get up every morning, they get in their cars, and then they sit in traffic. And that's something that we need to change. And it's a very complex system. It can be a very complex system. And from an engineering background, I see ways of improving that without going into details here. And I see that as a productivity issue, really, ultimately, is that we don't get enough productivity out of our transportation system. And productivity is what drives the economy.
Tough economic times. You mentioned driving the economy. How do you make it work hand in hand with an alternative energy type of approach, and also makes transportation succeed in that economic way? As you know, in the land of Edison, it's always going to be the necessity will breed invention. How do we make sure we have that invention here now?
Well, I think that there's some leadership that's needed, and I think that in New Jersey we have the perfect environment to create like a national, what I would call a national transportation laboratory. Given our commutes to New York and Philadelphia, as well as our rural and recreational areas, we have basically a microcosm of the whole country. And I think that if we had some leadership in Congress to bring that funding back to create this laboratory in New Jersey, I think that would go a long way to create jobs and ultimately be a product that we could export. Leadership
is a very strong word that you've used a couple of times here, but the title you're going for is representative, House of Representatives. How do you combine the sense of leadership, the sense of power in many ways, with the humble side of service, public service as a representative?
Well, leadership is about service ultimately, isn't it? That's what it's about. And in Congress, I think that what we see today is what I call it a self-perpetuating leadership void. In that, in order to fit into Congress, you almost have to be a follower, follow your party, follow the polls. And that's what I think I will bring. Is I will bring a more assertive role, and also a very conciliatory or trying about consensus building role as an independent candidate. I think we really do need independent candidates in Congress to break the stalemate that we have and move forward.
November 4th is a big day. What should the public do?
They should vote independent. I think they should vote independent up and down the ballot in order. That's real change. I mean, we have Barack Obama running under change, and I think that's a certain degree of change. But ultimately, real change comes from a structural change, and that's going to be when people vote for independent candidates.
And it is now in their hands. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks, Joe.
Public, you have the decision to make. He is Herb Tarbous, the independent party candidate for state representative in the 6th Congressional District. This has been a special edition of Comcast Newsmakers. They're all there to learn from. The candidates are on demand exclusively on Comcast Cable. You can see all the candidates right up to Election Day, your decision day, November 4th. Thank you for watching.